5 races into the season and we've already been spoiled with action, drama, new race locations and record breaking. This is a defining season in the championship's history and it's already going down as one of the greatest. So time to look back at the story so far. British driver Jake Dennis took the first win of the season in Mexico City. A dominant display at the beginning of a Porsche-powered push with Pascal Wehrlein finishing second. An excellent start for Dennis, Avalanche Andretti and the Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E team, who proved they had got up to speed with the Gen 3 car quicker than others.
Absolutely incredible. You know, the fans here have just been sensational. On that final lap, I could really hear them cheering, and to obviously win by that margin, start in the front row, and to obviously get a Porsche 1-2 is absolutely incredible. So big shout out to my team. Such a physical race. These cars are so hard to drive physically, and obviously with the lower grip as well, it just makes everything so challenging, but even more rewarding when you win by 7.5 seconds. So it's time for some tequilas with the team, and incredible race.
Lucas Di Grassi put on another impressive display in Mexico, an ideal start to life with Mahindra Racing. Pole position and a third place finish, in which he had to use all of his Formula E and energy management experience to hold on to. An encouraging first race of the season, but something that neither Di Grassi nor the team have been able to replicate since. After Mexico, the scene had been set for this new era of electric racing, but there was much more to come. Two eventful races under the lights in Diriyah did not disappoint. The action from start to finish showcased the challenges of driving this new Gen 3 car, as well as the now season-defining difference in one-lap qualifying pace and race efficiency. Impressive back-to-back wins for Porsche and Pascal Wehrlein in the doubleheader in the desert from 9th and 5th on the grid, further proving Pascal's talents and the race package he has at his disposal. A huge points haul and straight to the top of the standings, but Dennis did everything he could to minimise that lead with 2 second-place finishes, one of which from 11th on the grid. Again, demonstrating the efficiency in that Porsche powertrain being a step above the rest of the grid.
This weekend is incredible. I mean, a double victory. Our race pace is incredible. Again, today we had the perfect strategy, using the attack modes in the right time, and not having to use it again after the safety car was obviously crucial. Yeah, what can I say?
Jean-Eric Vergne was back on the top step of the podium in Hyderabad. The double champion with a huge turnaround result to help recover from the rough start to the season had by himself and the DS Penske team. A jaw-dropping battle and defensive driving masterclass against Nick Cassidy in the Envision behind, who himself had battled up to P2 from 9th on the grid.
Coming down into 3, late on the brakes, Vergne holds it!
But Jev secured the victory by less than a second. Not an easy win at all, with Vergne having to maximise every milliwatt of energy to finish the race.
Yeah, very happy. It was a tough race. I had to defend quite hard at the end, but we somehow managed to win it. It was a clean race, no mistake. Very happy with the win today. I think it's good for everybody's heart in our team. You know, after the first 3 races, it's good to boost it with a good race like that. So yeah, I couldn't be happier.
A stark reminder of the sort of drive the former 2-time champion is capable of. But it could have been a very different story had it not been for the incidents earlier in the race, bringing out the safety car, meaning the race didn't end up being as tough on energy as it could have been. That being something that a few of the drivers who'd been struggling to manage energy during the races, Sergio Sette Camara for one, could capitalise on. One of those incidents being the team disaster of Sam Bird colliding with his Jaguar teammate Mitch Evans and putting them both, and others, out of the race.
Oh guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The 2 Jaguars collide! It's dirty offline, and they've just found that out!
A huge blow for the team when all Jaguar-powered cars had shown impressive qualifying pace, and a big step up in efficiency to close the gap to Porsche and Andretti. But it was only Jag-powered Envision Racing up there on the podium in India when it could have been a very different story. Completing the podium in Hyderabad, and his first for Porsche, was Season 6 champion Antonio Felix da Costa. A mega drive, using that Porsche power and efficiency to battle up the field from 13th and onto the podium. A welcome result after a disappointing and relatively unrepresentative start to the season for da Costa. Leaving Hyderabad, Wehrlein remained top of the standings thanks to his well-fought 4th place finish, increasing the gap ahead of closest rival Jake Dennis, who went from a potential podium to being the last driver to finish the race after getting caught up in some good old-fashioned Formula E unpredictability. The risk that comes with having to rely on race efficiency to make up for undesirable qualifying performances. Would it be only a matter of time before others fell to the same fate? There was all to play for going into the next race, another first for the championship in Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town was a race that will undoubtedly go down in the history books of this great sport. 5 different race leaders, one of the greatest overtaking moves for the lead we've ever seen, and qualifying drama that meant 5 cars didn't even start the race. The Cape Town E-Prix was an emotional rollercoaster. The day started with a record-breaking performance from rookie Sasha Fenestraz to claim the Julius Baer pole position with the fastest average speed over a lap in Formula E history. But for the 8th race in a row, the driver on pole did not win the race, or even score any points in Fenestraz's case. Instead, we had a podium that felt a bit like deja vu, with the same 3 drivers standing on it as in Hyderabad, just in a different order. Now, this might not seem like an unusual thing to happen based on other motorsport championships, but this was, believe it or not, the first time in Formula E that the same 3 drivers have been on back-to-back podiums. A testament to the competitive racing we see race in, race out in this championship. It was Porsche driver Antonio Felix da Costa on the top step, his first win for the team after a superb performance, firing his way up the field from 11th, including the 2 unbelievable overtakes for the lead. He crossed the line less than 0.3 of a second ahead of former teammate Jean-Eric Vergne. A huge result for him and the team, who now have a 42-point lead in the team standings, the largest gap after 5 races held by any team in the championship's history.
Yeah, I think it's a first. I don't have a lot to say. A lot of weight on my shoulders, but yeah, just thanks to the ones that stick up to me and help me get here.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Da Costa has well and truly now put the pressure on teammate Pascal Wehrlein, having bested him in the last 2 races, further helped by Wehrlein's collision with Buemi in the opening laps of Cape Town, putting him out of the race with 0 points scored.
I'm out. No!
That devastation reduced for the champ leader, however, thanks to closest rival Jake Dennis being given a drive-through penalty, when a strong points finish or even a podium could have been on the cards. Jean-Eric Vergne continued with mission recovery for DS Penske, finishing P2 after another excellent drive, using both his energy and attack mode activation strategy to maximise his gains and move up the order from 5th. On a different day, with perhaps a slightly less brave Antonio Felix da Costa, it could have been back-to-back wins for the French driver. Completing the podium in Cape Town was Nick Cassidy, who at one point was pushing for the race win, but then had any energy advantage taken away with the full course yellows. That meant additional laps were then added to the race length, causing havoc on the Envision team's strategy. He was disappointed with 3rd, but things could have been a lot worse after the tussle with Super Formula rival Sasha Fenestraz. A tussle that swapped a potential podium to 0 points for the Nissan rookie. The 2 drivers' history and rivalry continuing into Formula E, and it might not be the last we see of it.
Yeah, Cassidy lost me. He lost me since Japan.
The Jaguar TCS team have been like a magnet to bad luck. The performance has been there across multiple races to show that both Sam Bird and Mitch Evans are capable of battling at the top and winning races. And if only a few split-second events had played out differently, we could feasibly be talking about Jaguar leading the championship.
Mega. Mega.
It takes a lot as a driver and a team to bounce back from a run of disappointment, but surely their luck has to change soon. The DS Penske spotlight has firmly been on Vergne with his win and podium, But in the same races, teammate Stoffel Vandoorne was quietly making up positions and points in the background. The reigning champion is still pushing for better qualifying performances, but the step up in race pace, efficiency, and the positions gained is a very positive sign that if it all comes together, he could match the performance we've seen from Jev in the last 2 races. Now, a team made of former champions and a fast race car is for sure an excellent combination. We've seen a big step up in performance from DS Penske, from nowhere to back-to-back podiums, but it's not just them who've seen improvements. The other cars powered by a Stellantis powertrain, Maserati MSG Racing, again showed good qualifying pace in Cape Town, and strong race potential to show that they too can battle amongst those at the top, if they can finish races. 2 human errors meant the wait continued to see Maserati score decent points. No points scored for Maximilian Günther this season, despite starting on the front row, and 5 incidents in 5 events for Eduardo Mortara. A very quick driver who pushes the limits every time he's behind the wheel. But in the era of Gen 3, there are still lessons to be learned in extracting the most out of these cars, and Mortara may be finding the wrong side of those limits a little too often.
They like a crash, those Maseratis, don't they?
They do.
We've discussed the performance of Sasha Fenestraz in qualifying and his unfortunate end to the race in Cape Town, but his pace and performance over the majority of the sessions can't be sniffed at. The Nissan car and driver look to have caught up with the McLaren, the other cars powered by the same Nissan powertrain, one of which driven by rival rookie Jake Hughes. Hughes currently sits in the top 10 in the standings with 28 points, and who also has a pole position to his name. A very impressive start from this season's rookies, with more to come for sure. Going into another new location for Formula E, Sao Paulo in Brazil, a home race for both Lucas Di Grassi and Sergio Sette Camara, this is how things stand. Pascal Wehrlein's strong points haul so far leaves him 18 points ahead in the standings. There's 3 out of the 4 Porsche-powered cars in the top 5, and 3 out of the 4 Jaguar-powered cars in the top 10, as well as Verne and both McLarens. So if you take everything we've learned across the sessions in all of the races so far, this championship could easily be a lot closer than it currently looks. Yes, we've got the dominant race performance from Porsche, but is it just a case of things coming together for others? Qualifying for Avalanche Andretti and Vandoorne, a change of luck for Jaguar, reducing errors for Maserati MSG Racing, converting performances for McLaren, and so on. This championship could change very quickly if teams can get on top of the things holding them back. As always, it's about consistency, the golden rule in Formula E that will decide who wins the World Championship. And we go again on March 25th in Sao Paulo, Brazil.